I have a trash
Okay.
can.
What is you'll be fine about?
Thank goodness I got that. Okay, so that's there forever. Anyways, welcome everyone. We are as
Oh,
the season 1 finale of Star Trek Intelligence here. Um, before we get into
whoop,
all of
whoop.
that fantastic stuff, because we have to be. Can't just jump into it. That's not how the formula works, and that's not how typical TTRPG actual play algorithms tend to work. And we're just gonna
Joe, hurry up.
I'm hoping if I drag it out, you'll make a mistake in gameplay. Anyways,
You don't think we're capable of making mistakes all on our own, Joe?
this is an assist.
Yeah, no kidding.
We make mistakes every day.
What part of the entire rest of this show has
We're fucking
led you to believe
adults.
that we need your help to make mistakes?
I'm giving you an advantage on mistake making. Anyways,
Oh, cool.
so yeah, we will go around for people who have announcements or things they wish to promote. And I will, as usual, as the host of this channel, I will do mine last.
If you're giving us an advantage of making mistakes,
Nope.
that
Hello. I am Lucas Santana. Normally,
You're good.
sorry. You can normally find me over on Rule of Lore, twitch.tv/Rule of Lore, on Fridays for Ramblemancy. We had a great discussion last night about game design and mechanics and all that kind of good stuff. Ramble. Yep. But yeah, if you aren't able to catch our live streams, I feel like I should say this more often. You can usually catch the VODs of them on our YouTube on Mondays is when they usually go up. So, and there's a whole backlog of Ramblemancy over there, and I'm not going to give you the URL for that because at present I do not recall what that is. But you can search Rule of Lore on YouTube and find us. It's pretty easy. So yeah, that's what I got.
Hi, I'm Slay. I'm a TTRPG performer. My Twitter, and yes, it will always be Twitter, is at Sons of Warvan. Sons_of_Warvan. Yeah, come follow me. It's mostly retweeting random bullshit that I like.
Hi, hello everyone. I knew you were waiting for me, right? Anyway, it's me, Little Legend. I am literally nobody, but I'm also an artist. You can find me mostly on Tumblr, on the blog Little Legend-Arts, on Twitter really rarely, but I'm there, Little Zero Legend. And if you're niche enough to know what the fuck that is, I'm in Vkontakte. It's social media thing, and there I am, Little Legend Arts. There's like a group for my art there. I do commissions, I draw silly stuff, and I'm just genuinely trying my best. Thank you so much. Mwah!
Hi there, I am Silver Sugar, aka Risa, and I am most places on the internet as Silver Sugar or X Silver Sugar. Right now, my computer is dying, so if I drop mid-session, my quality is going to go down as I go over to my tablet. But things are stable now, knock on wood. I am also open for commissions as I am looking to get my computer checked out, so I need to pay for that. But yeah, that's all I got for now.
Okay. Well then, as promised, I have my own announcements to get to here. So, as usual here, Lily, your mic is a little close to your face here. There we go. But anyways, as per usual, we are still trying to get the whole To Boldly Go series going. It is just finding people and also, scheduling that is going to be a issue because that's how TTRPGs are. It's just a thing. No one's immune to it, apparently. Not even people who are in the higher viewed spectrum are not immune to it. Anyways, but overall, still working on that. That might be more on the back burner as I continue a different project and other things that will be going, announcements that will start happening, and they will be coming down the pipeline later as I kind of seek that out and get a vibe for what I want to do. But the month of January, I've decided to punish my mental facilities to the absolute max by doing a Twitch Plays D&D game where all of you, as a collective, horrible amalgamation of people, create a character, and we play through a modified and slightly toned down version of Tomb of Horrors. All that will decide that kind of towards the beginning of January, maybe sometime in December. We'll see how I'm feeling during that time. Everyone's got a lot of stuff going on in December, so we'll see. But then afterwards, the other announcement we have here is next week there is no more Star Trek Intelligence episodes coming out. That won't happen until 2024. However, we will have a Q&A session and if you have questions, please post them here in the Twitch chat. I will look over them later or mention them. We'll see. However, aside from that, we also have a little other announcement. I'm sure some of you in the Discord have seen it, as we are working on a different project, which is the Occult Chronicles, which will be a 5th edition D&D game where I have kind of a podcasty type of situation. And as I mentioned last time, there will be a couple of people that you have not met, and Lucas is aware of them as well as I am because I've played a lot of VTM with them, also known as V5. But Leah from Into Deep will be joining us for that one, and it'll be an absolute treat because every player has promised to make my life a living hell. And also with Leah, it'd be foolish for me not to assume
this is
that.
love.
However, aside from that, I don't think there's any... Is there anything else that I need to announce? I don't believe so. No, there is one more announcement. Just because that Rule of Lore will not be streaming any type of actual play at the current venue after this, and after the Q&A, does not mean I will not be active. One of the active things I do plan on doing is, right on this channel here, is I will do a playthrough or two of Summerfall Studios' Stray Gods and make interesting decisions. We'll see how that goes, and probably just generally hang out. All that is out of the way, so let's give a reason for that anxiety to go through. Yeah, that seems good.
What are you talking about? It's totally fine. We're just planning on deposing a shadow government and replacing it with one under our own control. It's totally fine.
Thank you, Lynn. You're right. Rune and Relic. I did say Rule of Law. That's mainly because Lucas is here and also Ramblemancy is on the brain still because that was an event. But anyways, yeah, we'll be right back.
things in the mic. So
Okay, welcome back. Okay, so last session, all of you engaged in a very interesting conference call is the best way I can describe it. With a future
Brains.
That was the
It's not
wrong
Halloween
time
yet.
That was the wrong time for me to take a sip of my water.
It's autumn. What are you talking about?
Okay. Anyways, we're off to a great fucking start. This is healthy. Wow. But anyways, doing a bit of investigation and a little bit of a modified kidnapping plan, you were able to determine that another player has entered the field, which is Delar, which is the syndicate's kind of slight pseudo rival that kind of just is there as a presence. She is certainly dangerous because she is an unknown. You were presented with an option here to get rid of these 3 individuals, to let them stay because they are known factors and therefore you might be able to control known factors, or put an unknown into the place, or find a middle ground somehow which would go directly against the orders of the present mission admiralty. With all of that happening, I would say this is one of those rare occasions where everyone has returned and is aboard the vigilance, because you kind of have to make a decision. It's kind of the hours on the clock are set at that 12-hour mark, and then the mission kind of is at risk of spiraling way apart really fast. So,
this isn't
Commander-
necessarily.
Hmm?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
Joe.
continue.
This isn't necessarily something that would have happened on this day. This probably would have actually happened a little bit earlier.
Yes, probably.
But Dr. Atherton does have basically her own little priority mission where she really wants to get Kavai alone so she can try to suss out what she actually wants
Yeah, that's
in this situation.
That's easy enough to do because
Alright.
Kavai's been doing that quite a bit recently. So
But basically, the gist of it is just that Dr. Atherton, would like to think that they can be relied on as an extremely non-judgmental individual, morally speaking.
no, that tracks.
She is in the glassest of houses and would never throw stones. So, if you need a sounding board, she's not going to, like...
Would you have brought them in, or...
In what way? My original intention was to do it when we went to the safe house to interrogate the people that I absolutely kidnapped, but
Gotcha.
that didn't really get to happen during that session just because of time.
No problem.
So
Hey,
basically,
We
they're
could
just
roll
trying to
back
find a
time.
place. I'm basically at any point where they could have like in a mostly organic fashion gotten Kavai away from the rest of basically the rest of our coworkers.
Okay. How about heading back from there, then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe we could, if we could roll back time a little bit.
Yep, absolutely.
Sorry, this is something that she was very
No, absolutely. This is the time to do it.
Something
Kavai'll
she's
be walking
passionate
along
about.
the street, hands behind her head.
Do you mind getting? Do they have coffee around here? Is that a thing?
Oh, yeah, I know a place around the corner. I don't really drink this stuff. It's a bit strong for my tastes, but,
Oh, whatever
yeah.
fits your tastes, honestly. I know nothing about, the local cuisine.
Oh, I have a bit of a different palate than most. I tend to prefer sweeter things. I know my cousin works at one of these places, actually.
Maybe
they
somewhere
recommend.
you wouldn't...
Oh, it's fine. I have a lot of cousins. We mostly don't even know each other.
Fair enough.
I think if we go down L Street. Yeah, let's go here. And I'll lead the way.
Okay.
How do you... Are you sleeping? Like, no, she's not asking that, but, like, how hungover / strung out / on the verge of a...
They're dregs. Kavai definitely has some bags under their eyes, but they're holding themselves together well at the moment. You get the feeling that, especially after interacting with the people that we kinda kidnapped, sorta, cough, that she's running off some sort of energy that's maybe not hers.
That makes sense. Goodbye, if you don't mind, most of your,
She definitely looks a little manic.
If you don't mind, most of your conversation was, I think internal is the wrong word, but it certainly wasn't verbal.
Oh.
Just, you don't have to share the gory details, but anything pertinent for the case?
Well, they're certainly going to be more amenable to our demands now. She sort of gets like a glassy-eyed look. We definitely have the agreement that they're working for me now. And she sort of like pauses again. That's new. And then sort of like very under her breath, but I guess I'm more like my old man than I thought.
So you found out who hired them?
Yes. My friend.
Wait, one of the... She doesn't want to say it out loud in case there are people listening, so she just makes some vague gesture that, like, she'll gesture around the height of the,
Kavai just, like, does a very, like, slow grin and a nod. And it's very much like a tight smile where it's not really showing teeth, but very much like, I'm not bitter, you're bitter. But we can roll with this.
Yeah, Claire's gonna cock her head and ask if you want... Are you planning on helping her, or are you planning on getting revenge?
Well, if I play my cards right, it can be both. I don't envy her position, and it's understandable, given our parents' everything. But I like her. I don't think she's as much of a threat as our parents are, I'm hoping we can work this out.
How do you want to see this end?
To be honest, I... Damn my new value. She'll cross their arms. To be honest, please don't judge me for this. I kind of want my parents dead. And you get this look where it's it's clearly the first time she's ever said this out loud or admitted it, and having said that, she literally stops in her tracks, and you get the math through the head thing of she's like, oh shit, I really do mean that kind of thing.
Clarice has been trying to she's not exactly a calming presence, but she's trying her best. She's just going to nod slowly at that. Well, I've certainly never been in a situation like yours before. I can certainly empathize with feeling betrayed by people with power over you.
Oh, I've never been betrayed by them. I've always known their character. She sort of shrinks in on herself. Arms still folded. Very, very much the deepest slouch. And I feel like you almost inadvertently have to take a step back before she shakes her head, pulls everything back in, straightens up.
In that case, isn't this just the end of a story that's been written a while ago? Or is this a new revelation of yours?
I'm not going to lie, it does feel inevitable, but it's certainly not what they wanted. Definitely what they deserve. But...
Well, if you need me to explode another car for you, then...
You get a very sharp bark of a laugh. Thank you for that, by the way. I lost my temper.
I know we bugged you.
If she were drinking a drink, that would have been but she kind of nods, tries her best to keep it in stride. It's not unexpected. Right.
Just trying to
Starfleet. Yeah,
give you the best opportunity in the upcoming days.
Yeah. Thanks. I need to ask. You're a doctor, right?
Not a medical doctor, if that's where this is going.
Ah, actually, I was more looking in line of what your specific profession was.
My medical, or not, I just said, my not medical, sorry, tripping over my words. Doctorate is, she's got an engineering degree in mechanical engineering and a master's in computation neural systems.
Now that, fascinating. Well, might be the first doctor I can actually have a conversation with at length.
Well, we're about to go get whatever sweet, not coffee you decide to bring us to, so...
Oh, they have coffee too. This place is fantastic.
But yes, if Kavai has an interest in mechanical engineering, then I don't think she realizes what she's gotten herself into by opening these floodgates.
Less an interest in learning it personally, more in you're invaluable now. Given what Kavai likes to get up to.
Story of her life.
Mm-hmm.
People only want her for her intelligence.
Okay.
Better than what Kavai was wanted for.
Yeah. But she's gonna be a little bit subtle from here on out about it, but basically Clary's current philosophy is, damn the mission. I want this kid to succeed, even if they choose to become a criminal mastermind.
I love this.
This is gonna be healthy for this mission briefing. Which is a good, I guess, cutaway point to the Vigilance conference room. Now keep in mind, this is a Defiant class variant, so their conference room is pathetically small. Smaller than the Nova class. Which is nothing.
Are we all together?
Yeah, this is one of those situations where everyone kind of has to be present, so
We're
everyone's on
all
the same
in
page.
this together, everyone.
There is, unfortunately, because this is a mission pertinent thing, you will be all briefed or doing a check-in with the Admiralty first before continuing with the mission.
Joy.
Delightful.
On the view screen is Admiral Mihiel, who has been,
I'm definitely not making myself, like, as small in the back as possible.
I don't know what you're talking about.
spearheading the, conversation. I mean, there's been the subtle, jabs at each other between the commander and the admiral, but the admiral is kind of going over the mission reports at the pads, and this is it, Commander. This is your team's judgment day, so hopefully things don't have any more complications.
No guarantees.
Well, I wouldn't expect guarantees, but I would like a considerable effort to avoid such free-roaming spirits in the future.
An effort will be made, naturally.
This is the day, Commander. You have 12 hours. And the feed will shut off.
Okay.
Laura's just gonna heave a breath and then just look around at everybody else.
Hey, DM.
Yes.
Or GM, rather. Sorry, D&D on the brain. Can I get any dirt on Tate's mom?
Okay. If you want to do that, you do have a stealth vessel that is designed for espionage. You can do that. But, let's see here. Give me one moment.
The way I literally covered my mouth when you said that, I was like, oh god.
Let's see. This is going to be this has to be a daring security role, because you are going into locked systems, effectively. Admiralty level locked systems.
What are the
Okay.
chances we can apply my collaboration here?
Ooh.
You're also going to be working against Jalorn's direct orders of don't do that again.
Yeah, you want to make yourself an accomplice, Alec?
Kavai's already broken into one admiral's files.
I guess the only way that would actually happen, like the collaboration thing, is if you actually told me, which I sincerely doubt that you are doing. Telling the chief of security that you're doing this, I sincerely doubt you're doing that. So
This
So
is,
tempting.
if that is the case, then this is a daring security role.
Alright, I need to roll something for myself to find out whether or not I tell anybody about
Okay.
how mad I am at them.
You were just offered offered aid.
Yeah, I might do that.
Offered aid and a warning.
And Alec is Alec is probably the best skill wise, objectively, if you ignore the fact that he's the chief of security.
Okay, that is an interesting roll. Okay, I think Kavai's hands sort of just go on the table. We're not we can mute whenever we want, right? Or are we in person?
You are in person right now.
Okay.
Tate's phone was on the view screen. And she's gone now.
Okay. Kavai's hands will go on the table. I'm sorry. I loathe that woman. There's something very wrong with... She kind of gestures vaguely into the air. All of this.
I don't think you have room to say that right now.
You get a very almost a dog-like head tilt.
You get a sort of, this is about as stoic as Tate gets. And you get the feeling that they don't like people saying things about their mom in front of them.
Fair.
I mean, Kavai's actions aside, we've had plenty of examples recently of questionable choices being made by the Admiralty, so I'd say it's not entirely out of line. Well, maybe it's a little out of
It was
line.
normal. They make questionable decisions, and we just kind of work around that.
It's not the way it's always been.
Goes counter to everything I ever heard.
Really? That's what I heard. Every time anyone talked about this entire, thing, they would be like, oh yeah, they constantly make weird decisions.
To be fair, I wasn't raised in it.
Regardless, Kavai, you have a point to make?
After getting a look from Tate, she just shuts her mouth and shakes her head and lets it hang.
I will agree with one thing you said. Something about this whole situation stinks.
Can I? Question, DM.
Yes.
This is kind of a D&D question, I guess, but could I have made, because I know my mother, could I have made some, an insight check on her?
Yes, you absolutely can, and it's going to be one of those situations where I am not going to give you a difficulty threshold. You are simply going to roll the...
Oh, I don't like that you're giving us the opportunity to just gain free momentum like that. I'm scared now.
Now, you can either do this, you can approach this from two angles. You can do this from a reasonable standpoint or an insight. But either way, they're both security disciplines.
I don't think this is so much of a momentum gaining opportunity so much as whatever Tate is able to roll determines whatever information Tate is able to glean.
The more successes you get, the more information you get, probably.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we can
reasons
glance
higher
over the
than...
momentum thing. There's no reason for that.
Don't worry, I'll give you plenty of threat during this
Okay.
session. I guarantee it.
So reasons higher. Can I make an argument for command because I'm trying to understand what she's doing from her position?
Yes, but I will be adding something hidden to it that you won't know about.
I'll take that bargain.
Okay.
Yeah, I can.
Yes, but it'll cost
roll
ya.
those fucking dice.
It might not cost Tate anything. Might cost all of you something, but
2 successes.
Ouch.
2 successes.
Hey.
Okay.
Double ouch.
And you are doing reason command?
Reason command,
Okay,
yeah.
reason command. Alright. One thing, this is an espionage-based mission, and realistically, because Orion is, at this point, it is attached mostly as... It's as close as it can be to a Federation member world. It's not one yet, but it's pretty close. So the whole Cloak and Dagger thing is partially needed, because any failing of that destroys any, like, political built foundations that they've built over, the 100 or so years of interacting with Orion. That's one of the reasons, for sure, is, to assure that the wider government doesn't know that there is essentially what might be considered, in their eyes, an unsanctioned mission within their space. That has so many implications that can just ruin any type of ongoing negotiations that might be happening in real time right now. The other reason she might be the way she is right now is just throughout the mission, she's probably been suspicious of how this team was going to act, and given certain performances of certain individuals, she feels justified in being cagey, because apparently being super upfront is just grounds for immediate sabotage. Finally... Yeah, exactly. Finally, her reasons... She's always been an Admiralty that's been very much, like, as far as you know, by the books. But if this mission goes so far south, realistically, the guillotine doesn't fall on all of you. You will certainly feel repercussions for sure, but you'll feel the weight of them for the most part, because she's the one who signed off on this mission, essentially. She will get the most flack back for it.
And I would like to put out there, in case you guys want to do it, I have the talent well informed, so we can spend a threat and ask 2 questions about pretty much anything we want. It can be about my mother, or it could be about something else.
I
I have contacts everywhere.
I mean, if you have 2 questions, you can can't you just use them?
I can, but I just want to bring it out to you guys. It costs a threat too, so I don't want to give him a threat without asking.
Oh no,
that
absolutely.
okay?
You can go with that.
Alright. So, take your threat, Joe.
I'm keeping track of them.
Alright. That's the most honest thing I've ever heard. And, okay, so first question.
Alright.
This is probably going to be about my mother. Is there anything she's doing that's not above board? That, from my contacts and stuff, because this is about contacts.
Okay.
So.
Alright. Yes. Something that is not above board is, obviously, this mission, by all technicality, is unsanctioned. Which is, on paper at least, it's unsanctioned. She did allow it to happen, but through the wider Admiralty, probably doesn't know about it. Furthermore, this has a probably a separate agenda attached to it. You're not entirely sure what it is. It could be something as simple as career advancement, or it could be a genuine going outside of the lines of Starfleet and Federation law to ensure a deeper threat is mitigated.
Okay. Before I ask my second question, does anyone else have a question that you've thought of to ask?
Less question, more I want to press on that second thing that got brought up as a potential threat. But completely up to you guys. I'm just curious.
So my second question is, what is her agenda? What's she want out of this?
Okay. So, the Orion sector of space does not have a Federation or Starfleet presence nearby. However, with political talks going on, there is talk of like an embassy-based station. It's not gonna be as large as like Space Dock, like Earth Space Dock or Narendra. It'll probably be one of the smaller variants of stations, but they putting like an embassy station essentially for political figureheads and some of the Starfleet presence to be there. For the most part, outwardly, that is potentially what's being talked about. You are in intelligence, though, and you do have a secondary no that you know for sure that this could function as. Orion is alongside all of its neighboring planetary systems that are of M class and habitable and have different species within them, like near the Klingon border and all of that stuff. It is where the station is wanted to be put. It is situated really, really well to basically be an info gathering and relay station. It could easily be maybe modified to just catch encrypted messages before sending them on their way. Just, it's a list. It is situated perfectly to be a listening post. There is the opportunity, should she, deal with the syndicate here, which has always been a thorn in the wider, more appropriate government of Orion. If she gets rid of this, she basically gets the greater government of Orion's blessing to put that there without any sort of backlash or caution.
So basically, she gets a major intelligence asset out of this, is what you're saying. Okay.
Yep. She gets a major intelligence asset out of this, and realistically, Orion gets virtually nothing out of it. Aside from a minimal Starfleet presence and the Syndicate significantly weakened. Which already wasn't super large to begin with.
I inform everyone of my findings. I don't mention who my contacts are, though. That stays with me.
I mean, I'm not necessarily against that, but
So what's our play? What are we going to do? I looked at Jaloran when I say this.
She's just kind of staring into the middle distance and slightly scowling. She's not happy with any of it. And you're definitely getting the sense that it's like she can't see a clear way forward. Like every corner she seems to turn down is like goes against the grain for who she is as a person and as a leader.
You are essentially put into, no matter which situation you go for, Jaloran, there is essentially, you're going to be taking a few L's no matter what you do.
We're in a no-win scenario.
Well, I mean, my ideas are not always very good, but and how do I say it? It's not anything concrete, but we could just do something completely incredibly insane. You know, since everything will go bad no matter what we do, we can just make sure nobody knows how it ends. You know, do something incredibly stupid and insane.
You know, she's right, Commander. We're in the position of being a major fulcrum here. We don't have a lot of say. No matter what we choose, we don't have a lot of say in how things turn out. But we do have all the say in what happens next. So I say, I agree with Lieutenant Loris. I say we pull some kind of Hail Mary here.
See, that's what I'm talking about. It's
would like- Sorry. Go finish your thought, Lieutenant.
Nah, I was just, you know, it's if we do something completely insane, who's to say what's gonna happen, and maybe we won't be even blamed. It's
Okay, you you lost me at chaos, but I think we can.
It's already chaos.
It is, and I think that's what makes it our responsibility to try to mitigate as much of that as we can. That said, I think pulling the unexpected move is the way to go. I'm just not entirely sure what that is right now.
I would like to inform you all that if we deliberately mess this up for the Admiral, she will come down on us. She can be very vindictive when she wants to be. She has ruined careers because they pissed her off.
I'm not saying we have to mess things up. You know, I don't want my career ruined just like every one of you. But what I'm saying is, we can't do something that it will be too, like, difficult to understand who's the one who messed up. You know? I'm not the one for planning, you know, I'm more of a, fight and then ask questions kind of gal, and the best that's coming to my mind, oh, you're gonna hate me for this. The best that's coming to my mind is just, exploding a bomb somewhere. Which is
I don't think we have to go quite that far. I'm gonna lean back in my chair and
We've also already done that on that mission.
I'm going to inform everybody about Dalar.
Okay.
And get everybody on the same page. Lay out all my cards. And I'm going to also present everybody in the group with my parents' files.
Okay. For Kavai putting all those files out, obviously
it's probably the most difficult thing she's ever done.
Yeah, with Kavai's parents' files, those are fairly heavy. There's a lot. Then there's Yuri, he has his own files. Dalar is alarmingly so. You have very minimal. Essentially, all you know is the 64-ish days that Kavai has, or the 30 plus days that Kavai has spent with Delar, and that's about the amount of information you have on her.
We don't even have like
Would I
her
have
civilian information, like what school she goes to, what?
You have her civilian information, but it's all very above board. Is kind of the problem.
having been in pretty close contact? Can I also get in on like that sort of insight on them personally?
Yes. Definitely, college girl vibes, that type of thing. Definitely sort of pretty some bad decisions being made, on the surface at least. But you would, kind of thinking back on it, because, in the moment it feels kind of innocent, but it's just...
Oh, it never is. That's just Orion culture.
Yeah, but it's just like, taking the substance, paying out the money, and then one quality that you've always noticed, kind of thinking back on it, that she always does is for about 2 seconds, and this maybe leads you to assume that you might have an eidetic memory and good at memorizing faces. She's taking memory of their faces for the people that are, just for fun, delving in substances, and she's remembering that for later. Because a lot of these students or people that you've interacted with, they're not supposed to have that.
I guess my question is, outside of what we already know, which is some level of influence in the drug industry and some level of influence over... Were we able to find out anything about, like, were these goons that we kidnapped, were they hired directly by? Like, were they a mercenary group that was contracted out, or were they working directly under her, as in they were hired directly into her employee?
So what probably happened, and you would have gathered this with your little interrogation stint, they work for her father. On paper. Something has happened at some point where, on paper, yes, they work for her father, but not really. They work for her.
Oh, if she's leeching off her dad's resources, we're not finding anything.
What's Delar's course of study again?
Sociology, psychology, medicine.
Oh yeah, she's dangerous.
Pharmacology.
I like it.
Yep. She's in.
I want to be
just upon her course of study, you like Jaloran and probably Alec too. You can look at this and go like, the fact that we don't know anything and this is all we know makes her incredibly dangerous to have as an unknown.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of goes into what I was going to say here, which is I want to be really clear that we lay out the options that we have in front of us. I want to know what it is we're deciding here. So our options are to take out these players, like the known players, like we've been ordered to, and potentially pave the way for somebody worse who could do a lot more damage. Or our options are to leave these people in place, and maybe our unknown ends up in charge anyway. She clearly doesn't get to this point without having a plan for dealing with them. And I sincerely doubt that her entire plan hinged on our meddling. So, am I right in thinking these are what the obvious options in front of us are? Did I miss anything?
We could replace them all.
With whom? Do
I
you
just
know enough good people to replace them all?
I
Or are you
just look
gonna
at
make clones?
Kavai.
What, replace them all with Kawaii? Come on, you know that's not her ambition. That's not what she wants.
Is it? I look at Kavai.
I'd never particularly thought about it. I wanted to leave my entire life. But if it comes to that, it's a better option.
Nah. Okay, so I'm like, yeah, I know it's a duty thing and la-di-da. Question: is this what you want, or is it, oh, I have no other choice because if I don't do it, who will?
That kind of like gets like as close to like offended or angry as you've seen them. But they kind of set their jaw. Yeah, Kavai's not in a good position with like any angle here.
Which is fair. I'm sorry, yeah, Mary is just like very straightforward about it, and
No,
she's
fair.
not.
No, I love this. As a
Yeah, she's
player,
not an
love
advocate
this.
of
Kavai
doing
is
something
fucking
that's.
miserable.
I'm so sorry, Kawhi.
Yeah, don't be. I live for this shit.
We live to destroy our characters.
Exactly.
I hope there's L in the chat.
Mm.
Delar's gonna start sifting through all the files that are on the table, like Delar's files, the 3 targets, it's like everything that's been brought out.
Notably, anything regarding Kavai's, like anything personal or related to her, that's all absent. And there are some holes that you could piece together some shit, but it's obvious that she's on like a very like last nerve kind of thing, and if any of that gets tugged on, we're gonna have a bad time.
Do 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 do.
Yes.
But yeah, and it's like the Delarn is clearly pulling on. She's trying to piece something together. Like a common thread of sorts. She's thinking about Loris's suggestion of the complete unexpected, looking at the obvious stuff that's in front of us. She's wondering about Civil War, because that's the most unexpected path that brings out the most unknowns. And it's not entirely a mistake on their part. That's not something that anybody could predict. Like, if we nudge the pieces in just the right way to cause everything to just explode in everybody's faces.
I mean, things on Orion are tenuous at the best of times. Well, that's delightfully horrific.
Does Delarn say this out loud?
Not just yet, but it's like you know her well enough, like the way she's lining up paperwork, that you can kind of see the thread that she's going for. She's not hiding it, but like you can kind of see the thought process that's going through her head.
I definitely just sort of like sinks back into their chair, like trying to think about everything, but they're in over their head.
She doesn't necessarily want to set up a puppet government, because that
That's
that
always
could go
gone
wrong.
well in
And
history.
yeah, but she also doesn't want to hand up what the Admiralty wants on a silver platter either. There's just too much about that stinks.
You have an idea, don't you, Commander? I can see it forming.
It's not optimal.
Nothing about the situation is.
It does play into Lieutenant Loris' suggestion of something unexpected. We could start a civil war on Orion.
Yo, I meant unexpected, not just, absolutely goddamn criminal.
I'm sorry, this is supposed to be the best alternative that we have? And then belatedly adds in Commander.
You can see a muscle working in her jaw, and it's like she's not entirely convinced of that either.
I'm not starting a war. I mean, I will do whatever you say, but I really don't want to start a war.
Yeah, if you're gonna do that, I would rather take over.
Why don't we just...
I mean... Sorry.
No problem. Why don't we just handle the 3 that we know of? We already... Delar overplayed her hand. She sent people after Kavai. She overplayed. We know about her now. We didn't know about her before. So we can keep an eye on her. Intelligence keep an eye on her after we take care of these two.
Wait. I have a... Maybe it's not a good thought, and I promise you that I am well out of my depth with this one. But look, I did pay attention in my history classes at the academy. At least some. James T. Kirk was famously quoted in saying when you encounter he didn't believe in no-win scenarios, that you had to change the conditions of the test. So why don't we do that? Orion is already as close to becoming a Federation world as possible, so why don't we stop thinking about this as an intelligence agency and start thinking about this like Starfleet? What if we handle this diplomatically?
Like, send in a...
Nothing would piss off my dads more. Holy shit, you're right.
How do we do that?
I don't know.
We have
like
a
I said, I'm
meeting
out of
with
my
her.
depth.
We call her in.
Called Delari?
Yeah.
And how's that gonna help?
That compromises us completely.
And maybe that's what needs to happen.
It is unexpected.
Because everyone's just being shady as fuck, and that doesn't work anymore. Oh my god, therapy works.
I love that that's the takeaway.
It took everyone here. It took everyone at this metaphysical table like a solid 2 seconds to process this and go like, "Fuck, you're right."
I mean, in character, Clarice does not approve.
No, I love that though. That's fair and valid.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so with Alex with Alex's suggestions, like the paperwork starts shifting in different ways. It's like Delorn is moving it around in different ways, like adding in that angle. She wants to see what happens. but I'm not sure what sort of roll to make to get any sort of insight.
Um, I will give you an
I'm thinking
insight security or command here, depending on which angle you want to hit it from. Security will give you potential consequences. Command will get you a more like a general feel for the situation.
Is there any way to
she wants to
assist?
get she wants to get an overview of the whole situation, and I'm looking at the cultural studies focus that she's got. And like what sort of strings could she pull on to get this potential diplomatic angle to succeed?
Okay.
I guess could I think about it from the strictly like security angle? Like Clarice is trying to figure out how we can do this without getting ourselves assassinated now. If we're gonna be playing politician, then suddenly the fact that we're the one with the sniper isn't helpful.
Okay, yeah, you can both approach it from two different angles. Both of them are going to be a difficulty of 3, and both angles I will spend 3 points of threat on.
Oh, thanks.
Delightful.
If it's all right, so if Kavai's angle is trying to find like is the security angle, is that what you're talking about here?
I think Clarice's angle.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or-
Clarice.
Yep, that's
Sorry,
right.
I wasn't sure who was making this.
Yeah, sorry, that's me, Dr. Atherton.
Okay. If that's the case,
So-
I mean, Alec is an idealist, but he's
Alec-
also not. He's also chief of security for a reason, so I think I would agree with that. Like analyzing the risk.
I think the two of you pairing up on that role would be great.
Yeah.
I have a value that could help here if you have a focus. My focuses are all like weapons engineering and stuff.
My focus is security. I also have values that can help.
Is yours also the price of peace is paranoia?
No, but it's not that. Mine
These two
is some
together
rules
are
were made to be
fun.
broken. Some rules were made to be broken, and this is running directly counter to like what we have just been told to do.
Arguably, I could use either the price of peace is paranoia or emotion in a crisis only makes things worse. But I think the first one fits better.
Yeah, I
The
think
first one will
probably
fit
true.
a little bit better. I mean, they'll both work, but they'll yield different results.
And then it's insight. What was the attribute? Was it insight or reason?
Security.
Security.
I'm asking the attribute.
Yeah, the attribute
Insight.
was insight.
Okay.
Can I assist the commander in the role?
Yes.
I can try to
Insight
assist
command.
somebody too.
Yes, we're gonna do, because this is the security aspect, before any sort of potential diplomacy happens, the security aspect should go through first, because that will inform how you're going to approach the potential diplomacy aspect.
So, how do we handle this role? Because like I don't want to I don't want to step on the toes and take over a thing that you were planning on doing.
I mean, how did your collaboration thing last time work? Because I haven't.
Basically. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I have a disgusting insight.
Yeah,
but my security is only 3.
Insight security is exactly my best combo. I have in total that would put me that would be a 16 insight security.
Let me check my talents. It might be better if you rolled, and I think I might have something that could help.
If your insight is what is your insight?
10.
10. Okay, mine's 11.
Okay.
I was gonna say, because like theoretically with collaboration it wouldn't really matter if we had the same insight stat, but yeah. Okay. But I will happily take any assistance you can give.
But wouldn't your collaboration security help improve Atherton's security
Yeah,
score.
It absolutely would. It absolutely would. So it would help.
He
either
still
way.
has a higher attribute and insight because
Right,
my
but,
highest
like,
is
if you're-
reason.
But if you're assisting, then it still helps.
Yeah.
Because you'd be assisting
Yeah, 'cause
making.
that would put you at 15 and him 16.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it'll still help.
Okay.
I have. I'm sorry. 1 second. I'm looking up one of the. Fuck. I'm sorry. I'm stumbling over my words. I'm trying to look
It's
up
okay,
my
it's okay.
talent that I never use.
You're good. This is a complex series of things we're trying to like cobble together here.
No, because it's specifically on the engineering or science.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't have a talent that can help here.
Okay.
So the
And-
better talent that would help would be that collaboration.
Yeah. So you can still, because if you're still Joe, would Dr. Atherton still be using
Would still
making
be
the
using
same
your
check?
security? Yes.
Okay. So, but he'd be making using security anyway, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. So that's still okay. Cool. So that's still helpful.
I really wish I could turn this into a an engineering check for me.
So
But I can't figure out a way to make that feasible.
I have an additional question here, which is, given that what we're trying to do right now is it's diplomacy, but we're also trying to specifically like analyzing the consequences of taking this diplomatic route. Could I consider my focus in Starfleet protocol as being useful?
It's a roundabout way, but yes, this is a way to make it work. Because
I
you're
guess
following the
Yeah.
values of like what the basis, like the foundation building blocks for Starfleet. You're not exactly all of that stuff. It's more just to determine again, like it will work because you're following the concept of it at its core, its base, not
Sure.
whatever weird amalgamation this is turned into.
That's wild. I haven't seen one of those bots in a while.
Yep, I haven't either. Wow.
Boy.
Right. So,
Refreshing.
oh, I got this.
I guess just the last thing I have to offer as a potential help in this situation is just if Joe sees any focuses that I don't know would be useful but are. But like I said, most of mine are engineering or weapons related.
Okay.
My biggest help here is the fact that I've been married to a security officer for a decade now. And I spent a long time being very paranoid in a hostile environment.
Okay. There we go. I had to do the sci-fi thing and assassinate a robot, but I did it.
Huzzah.
Did you have fun?
I did. It was euphoric.
Set phasers
Not
to ban.
anticlimactic.
He tasted the motor oil. Now he's out for it.
Anyways, yeah, okay, so, like I said, the roll is going to be a difficulty of 3, and we'll have 3 threats spent on it.
Okay. I would like to then burn a determination.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I'm trying to determine if it makes more sense to challenge a value or to use one of my existing ones.
Oh yeah, I did want to ask about that. I saw Kavai burn a value, but I don't actually know how that mechanic works.
So, when you make your values, you can keep them for the course of the game, or if you decide to challenge one, you more or less strike it from your character sheet and pick a new one. based on the decisions that you're making. I don't know if I'm describing that clearly, but
Yeah, pretty much. It gives you can challenging a value allows you. It's the same as like using a value, but instead of needing to burn a point of, I mean, you can still burn a point of determination, but it also gives you a point of determination,
Mm-hmm.
which
And
you would always.
mechanically, go ahead, Lucas.
Oh no, sorry. I was just going to clarify that last point. You go. Your thing seems more pertinent.
Yeah, and mechanically using a point of determination,
I actually have a list of
that gives you like what, one or two auto
Gives you
successes?
It's 2.
a bonus
Two
D
auto
and you
auto
roll
success.
1. You can
Yeah.
either re-roll the entire dice in a pool, immediately perform another task, or create advantage to a current scene.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fortunately, this doesn't really contradict any of Clarice's values.
Well, it could also support a value, which would get you
Yeah.
the.
Yeah, that's why.
Um,
That's why she's already using the price of peace.
Mm-hmm. I think.
I think the
I'm
one you
going-
mentioned earlier, Lucas, some rules were made to be broken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. I think that one fits here. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna go ahead and use that one to buy a D20,
Yep.
and that's just gonna sit there on a 1. All right. Okay.
And then I'm also gonna buy a dice with my value.
You can only roll with 1 dice if you're assisting, I believe.
Oh, you can't buy one if you're a
Oh
sister.
shit! Yeah, that's right.
Yep. You can
I
only
forgot
roll
about
one
That's
if you're
unfortunate.
assisting.
I forgot about that.
If I can offer
Well,
some help, I mean, I don't have much, but you know, if there's anything I can help with.
If it's in Alex's crit range, not mine, it's still crit.
Yes,
If
because
it's a
you're
4?
using his focus with
Yep,
collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then I crit.
I don't know if you're using my focus. You're just using. You're using my security discipline score, not.
The
I don't think it's
discipline.
my
Not his
focus.
focuses.
Yeah, the discipline. Either
Okay.
way, I think it's.
I don't. I
And
mean,
I rolled a 4. Whatever that
Either
means in
way.
this situation.
Slay is right. Atherton would be able to use not just the discipline score, but also one
really?
of the focuses.
Mhm.
So
Ew.
whatever focus that you're using to increase that, Atherton would be able to use
Cool.
it too.
So yep.
So that would be.
So
That's-
if she got 5 or under, it's a crit.
Oh hell yeah! Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead. I think I could finagle a weird way of getting momentum, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna roll as is, and we're gonna go for it. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, let's just go for it. It's partial success, then somebody gets shot. It's fine.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Does Oh wait, no, it's still under. Never mind, just barely. Okay, we're good. That's 4 successes from me.
Okay.
Holy shit!
2 more
So
from
Dang.
Clarice. So 6. So that gets us 3 momentum.
All right. With the whole security check and checking through all of the different players, Atherton, with your kind of engineering background, that actually helps because depending on where you want to have this potential meeting with one or multiple groups of people, depending on who you decide to talk to in this instance, maybe on the vigilance isn't the greatest idea. Vigilance is a stealth ship. There is a chance that technology could be acquisitioned through stealth-like means. However, the flip side of that is breaking stealth may be a good will of faith, but that's that has its own complications. Overall, like the vigilance seems to be a not the greatest meeting space because too many things can go wrong here. For Alec, for Lieutenant Caballero looking through all these different files, these 3 syndicate members that you are looking for, and these kind of like all this sort of corruption here. That's one of the downfalls that you would have here. Is yes, they are willing to negotiate more than likely. The problem is they've been doing this for so long, they are set in their ways. To the point where they might be okay to follow these rules for a little bit before they start finding ways to circumnavigate them. With Delar, again, you don't have a huge amount of know-how, but Tate is right that she did kind of overplay her hand a little bit, and that can be potentially used against her. She is... One thing you can determine is she is young, she's ambitious, and she probably doesn't have the largest following. So...
Does that... Sorry. Can I know, I think one of the momentum spends that I can use is to ask a question, right?
Yep.
Okay. Everybody cool with me doing that?
Absolutely.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Okay. So my question is then, would she benefit from an offer of support from Starfleet? Because you said what she like that basically what she's got is she's young, she doesn't have a whole lot, like she has ambition, she has some resources at hand, but she also doesn't have a huge support base. So could something like that be beneficial to her or desirable even?
Very much so.
Okay.
You would have to be careful what you like. If you were to present that to her, you could 100% like present that as an option. However, in terms of offers, very clearly you can't be the first one to offer like.
We
the
have to
amount
make
of
it seem
stuff.
like it's her idea.
Right. Yeah.
We can do that.
So yeah, she would benefit from that. You might have to do a little bit of going behind Greater Starfleet Admiralty's back to do this, but you're already
Right.
kind of
It's
doing that, so...
It's my understanding that this is basically, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Starfleet also has, like, stands to gain from an arrangement like this, and it's not what they wanted, but it does kind of get them somewhere.
It feels more like what they need.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, more than
If
likely.
I understand the situation correctly.
Yes, you are correct. This will get them
Okay.
where they want. You will probably make some of the people involved unhappy because this will slow it down a little bit to where they kind of have to take things a little bit slower if you get this going. But at this point, you know what? Them slowing down might not be a bad thing.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. So, okay, cool. I feel like, so, like, Dr. Atherton and I are, like, kind of looking through all of this stuff, and we're probably actually having this discussion, like, as Alec is, like, bouncing these things off Dr. Atherton, just saying, like, all right, look, this is what I'm thinking here. And, like, it's basically, like, Alec is sort of verbally processing the outline of a, like, not so much a plan, but a minimized risk procedure.
Makes sense. It probably comes down to you're more worried about like the people security side of things. Clarice is more worried about like a planted bomb or like sniper sight lines.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, that makes perfect sense. And I think so. Alec will say, "Well, we propose some sort of neutral, like meeting site at first, some sort of neutral ground, and we make sure that we like maybe your wife can help with this as well. Sweep every inch of that place."
Yeah, she can definitely see what the sight lines are like in the buildings around the area.
Okay.
So we at least know where somebody would post up if somebody's there.
Yeah.
All right, so we
I
got
think
the tails portion of the coin here.
I think we present our like sort of basic thing to the rest of the team.
Okay.
Our little sci-fi PowerPoint.
Now it's Tate and Jaloran's turn to roll.
Yep. Same
What are
difficulty,
we
same
rolling?
threat.
What are you rolling?
Hell yeah.
This is
Let's
the Insight
go.
Command one, because this will inform... Actually, before you do that, who are you more likely to kind of interact with? Are you going to follow the suggestion of trying to talk to Dolor? Because that is a potential, but you could talk to the other three. Depending on which way you go, you're going to get different information.
I'll leave that up to the commander.
If I may make a suggestion to that end, that is still like based on like our findings on our roll,
Mm-hmm.
I am becoming more and more convinced that Delar is the way to go. And the reason for that is, if for no other reason than trying to not going all out in just flagrantly flipping Starfleet Admiralty the finger, because what they wanted at the end of the day was these main powers taken care of.
It's also the optics of it. She has less visible blood on her hands than all of
Exactly.
the parents in the situation, quote unquote
And
parents in the situation.
Okay,
exactly.
I'll go with
So if
Delar.
yeah, and so if we're not doing what the Starfleet Admiralty directly asked us to do, we should still present them with something that they did want us to do.
Okay, yeah, I'm okay with
And
that.
in a way, yeah, and in a way, going with Dalar would help neutralize the other three.
Mm-hmm. She already
Yeah.
probably has a plan, as I said.
Would negotiation be a good focus for this?
Yes, absolutely.
Cool.
And Jalaran's got cultural studies.
Wow, you
Would
were...
negotiation be a good focus for a negotiation?
Alright.
What was that? You were starting to say something?
Nothing. I was just laughing at the response. But the difficulty, as I said, is 3. The threat range is 3 as well.
I just rolled a 2, so that's a crit for me.
Hell yeah.
I also want to. I want to use a value.
Okay.
Compassion through understanding.
Yeah.
To tie in with cultural studies.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's three dice.
Yep.
No,
Wait, no, because you have...
no. Of using a value is you get an automatic crit.
That's right.
So that's
Sorry.
2 successes on top of
So
my 2.
it's technically considered 3 dice for the purposes of counting, like for like the maximum number of dice you can use for any given roll. But basically, it's you don't roll it. The third one, I mean.
Yeah.
A success, and another crit. So that's
Yo.
5 from me.
We're on a roll today.
And
What the
You
heck?
2
maxed
from
out
me,
on
so that's 7.
Yeah, don't jinx it though.
momentum.
Yeah, maxed on momentum.
Okay.
Did we have overflow of max? Because if we did, then we can burn those right away.
Yes, you do have some overflow.
So we can burn those in immediate spends if we wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with the information first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What question do you want?
Well, you have to give us the information first that we rolled for.
Yes, okay. So, with all of that, what you do know, when talking with Delara, outwardly, in terms of, like, let's just say, comparative to, like, social medias and stuff like that, she's a very present personality. But, so, she is definitely not someone who's going to be willing to meet in some sort of secluded area. That's not her jam, and she's not stupid enough to fall for something like that. In addition to that, she will 100% try to get something out of this, and a little bit more if she thinks she can squeeze it out of you. There is the element that you have to be aware of with her, is during these negotiations, she might agree to this full stop, but, if there is a loophole in anything that you say in this spoken or written out contract that you end up creating through these negotiations, she's going to use it, and she will abuse it until the end of time.
God damn.
So essentially, better have an airtight contract as much as you can. Those negotiations might not allow for all of that because she might not be willing to if you're just gonna stonewall her operations. She might not like that. The other thing that is somewhat alarming, just given all of this, as she does seem like the type of person who might want the negotiator to be Kavai. The problem with that is she knows Kavai to a degree. It would be smarter to have someone who is an unknown to her be the negotiator.
Well, I'm willing to go. And I'm willing to do whatever you guys need to do this right. I trust you.
Basically, we need someone to negotiate, but it can't be Kavai, because then she will be used.
Well, I do have a background in diplomacy. And I am willing to...
Then I don't think it can be only Kavai.
Well, I mean, Mira's willing to go as
no.
her
Ooh, you're very robot-y. Wait. Is the connection
robot
that bad?
voice?
Yeah. Might want to disconnect, reconnect.
Fuck.
Lauren's potential thought is stepping into the field herself because nobody down there has actually seen her yet.
That was Tate's thought.
Go together.
Yeah, same.
That is also one of the things you like. This is one of the things, Tate. That's entirely up to this entire team. Just know, Tate, as an XO, this is kind of out of the realms of this is a don't do this situation. Under normal circumstances, this would not be allowed.
The people must be protected at all costs.
In fairness, I think that pretty much describes this entire situation. This would normally not be allowed. See the whole mission.
Kate is very willing to take whatever flag they're going to get for this.
Okay.
This is what we call the plan that is malicious compliance.
Best kind of compliance. Oh,
you're
not better.
You're breaking up really bad.
Ah, hell.
Alright. So this sort of meeting and stuff and plan is more or less enacted. Probably an encrypted message is sent outwards to pick a meeting place. However, the one thing that is alarming, and you can't really get her to back down on this, is Delara has chosen it. But
I'm okay with that.
We will pick up on this diplomacy on the back half of this episode. But we are going to take our 10 because we should stretch our legs and grab water because I haven't
It's
done
hot
that
out
yet.
here.
All of you do that too, please.
Yeah. Take care of
We
yourselves.
will
It's hot because
see
you are
you
hot.
in just a moment. Okay, welcome back. We are in the last half of our season finale here. After analyzing their situation and finally deciding to act like Starfleet and do the absolute most unexpected thing.
You're
We'll be
welcome.
cutting to the meeting place, which, one, it's not secluded. It's actually very public. It appears to be kind of, it's like one of those outdoor kind of like mall cafe situations, but it's like deep inner cities, so it's much more busy. There's a lot going on here. So it's easy for certain people to blend into the crowd a lot easier. And I believe the two people talking or going through the diplomatic like negotiations were Kavai and Jaloran, correct?
Legend's also there.
Yes, okay. Notably, when the three of you approach, she appears to be on her own. She doesn't have a bodyguard, or doesn't seem to feel that there needs to be need of one. She is enjoying a meal and a drink as she kind of notes your approach and stops enjoying the meal for a little bit and gestures at the table.
Wave incredibly like pleasantly.
Jaloran is gonna let Kavai take the lead. She doesn't have anything on her that she's the commander in charge.
Okay.
She's in civvies.
Got it.
Quick question. I'm sorry, I kind of missed a bit. Is Mira at the
Yes.
the
Yes,
thing?
you
are. Okay. Yeah.
You
She's just
would
gonna
probably be
stand there
required to
silent.
be in civilian clothing as well, just because Starfleet clothing causes complications in this situation.
Yeah, and sometimes it's more comfortable to be in civilian as well. So.
Just because we're acting more like Starfleet doesn't mean we gotta wave the flag around.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, I suppose the Earth term is the cat's out of the bag.
I just shrug.
Please, you're welcome to order food and drink while we have our conversation. It's on me.
Oh, I just reach over and like pluck something off her plate.
She doesn't seem to mind.
Mira's
No,
hardly like holding back her laughter.
So,
Jaloran just sits back, relaxes.
Oh, I trust you don't actually hate me as much as all of that was led to believe. I assume it's more to...
theatrics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So... I assume you don't like my parents is the more apt thing.
No lower syndicate member enjoys your parents at all. They complicate things, they have an oppressive grip, and generally speaking, they are beyond arrogant and full of themselves.
Don't I know it? Well, we have that in common then. So,
Well, you sent the message to me, so I suppose you have a proposal for me.
I think we can work quite well together. I like your style.
Because it's convenient to have a smaller amount of people to mitigate as opposed to 3 larger players, right?
Oh, yes.
I appreciate the honesty.
Definitely take it like another bite of whatever she's got for food.
It's
This is really good.
it's like fruity and sweet. It's kind of like it's kind of like if you wrapped a crepe in like a very airy smoothie.
Ah, good. So good.
I'll get on with the proposal, unless of course you're not the active diplomatic envoy.
Well, I think there's a very easy way to take care of the trash, as it were. Let's just say, how much do you like your old man and value, the life there?
Well, I have a much more stable relationship with my parent than you have with yours.
Because I happen to know that there are some people that don't want him around. And if you're invested in keeping that, I can definitely get on board. I just want to make sure.
His scientific mind is valuable to the greater Orion Society. His syndicate contributions are, in my mind, currently stagnant and distasteful.
Do I believe her?
You can make an insight security roll and find out.
Let's see. Got computer? My tablet's not letting me open my sheet. Okay, there we go. One success.
One success. For the most part, she's telling the truth. However, if, say her father were to pass through accidental or unfortunate means, there might be immediate, retaliation, but over time it would just die out, and it would be, one of those things like, oh, that's just business, that's unfortunate. But, immediate response would be bad.
Gotcha.
Immediate response would be bad, but long-term, not so much.
Okay. I'll kind of glance over to Jaloran, kind of trying to gauge, how many cards we put on the table. Because, Kavai, very good at what she does. Player, dumb as rocks.
Oh my god, the mood of it all.
I think it's reasonable to say we can talk about it among the players before we do anything.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jolaren would be hesitant about putting it all on the table at once. She's inclined to kind of get a feel for where Delar is at right now. So she would she wouldn't say anything out loud, but she would certainly tap into that mental connection the two of them have and give approval for partial reveals.
Okay.
If I
I was like, she would leave it up to Kavai's best judgment as to exactly what.
And if I could add to that, I would say it's probably worth finding out exactly what Delara is about. Right? Like, we have some knowns on the table, but even though she's the known or unknown, she's our best option, but it still, I think, helps to know what she's trying to accomplish, really.
Okay.
Or as much of her ideology, at least, as we can.
Talked before and tried to sort of seed the ideas of like hinting at Starfleet and stuff and that kind of mindset before.
Mm-hmm.
Can I sort of play off that a bit more before giving anything away?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I'm just not sure how to word that in character.
That's alright. We can kind of, I mean, conversation-wise, I mean, she's kind of determined at this point that you are a foreign asset. So... I'm assuming Federation attaché of some sort?
Something like that.
Hmm.
But more to the point, she kind of like pauses and then sort of smiles. If my parents were out of the picture and I were to say happen to have all of their information and were willing to share it with you, maybe we could have a very, very fruitful relationship here.
To be fair, that didn't occur to me that you would have in-depth knowledge to that degree, but I suppose that makes sense. I don't require all the information. In fact, I don't really care about your father's syndicate information. I'm much more fascinated on the diplomatic aspect.
Way to phrase this. Can I try to get her to... Can I try to lead the conversation in such a way to get anything to sort of like slip up a little bit? Like definitely like buttering her up a little bit.
Yeah, you can try.
Okay.
Damn, girl, those tits though.
Yeah, that's not gonna work on Delar.
Petey.
But anyways, you could try and do that. How do you want to approach that, though? Like, 'cause there are a couple of ways you could approach that, and, depending on how you go about it, the response may be more extroverted response, more introverted response, more... It'll depend on where you focus trying to get her attention to, like, work with you.
I think I'll definitely lean into that I do have ties with the Federation. And that it's definitely, I don't know, like, it's definitely, like, a, 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 like, better if we start taking pieces off the board.
Hmm.
And nobody else matters but us right now, kind of thing.
Okay. What an interesting proposal. I don't dislike what you're proposing. I think it's fascinating and truly bold. And I'm not ignorant to the fact that overall I might be just a step above a small time crime boss at this point.
Don't sell yourself short. I like what you're doing.
One moment, I'm gonna smack the cat away from trying to destroy shit. There we go. Because she is in the mindset of people are busy, so we'll have to destroy things. But anyways, she kind of thinks on it a little bit. Well, the compliment is appreciated, and I do have my money does tend to go into information networks that I know are trustworthy and collect fantastic clientele. So I have my influences, but I am aware that I'm short on resources, which I suppose is partially what you might be here to offer.
I kind of like gesture and nod as if like, hey, that's I wasn't thinking about that. Hey, it's certainly something I can make available.
Well, for a relationship to work out like this, both sides have something to gain. So I have a question for you.
I have a potential answer.
I have a feeling you have an answer for me. Her eyes kind of look over to Jaloran. What does your organization have to gain out of this?
I lean back and I steal the entire plate.
Power move.
Jaloran gestures at the stolen plate. If things were to go as originally planned, Orion wouldn't have been left with much of anything.
That sounds like your Starfleet, as of its current existing mandates.
Yeah, really not a fan.
So tell me, are you Kavai's advisor, handler, teacher?
Yes.
What a succinct answer.
Yeah, she's really not wrong, though.
So I do have the question again. I'm gonna make the assumption. Starfleet. What does Starfleet have to gain out of this?
If all goes well, perhaps a few years down the road, A new member of the Federation.
I see. This feels in civilian clothing, meeting in a public space on what is effectively my turf. Show of goodwill. Been quietly watching the bodyguard there, seeing if I'll commit any sort of violent action so she feels justified in anything that follows. Vi has known me the longest, so therefore she's logically the one to present all the diplomatic actions. However, you are here, and the few times she's looked over for approval? Permission?
Kavai just shrugs.
So you're the mission lead.
Lauren just gives her a curt nod.
Then you know how these conversations go. You get
Another
something,
nod.
and I get something. I asked you a question of what you got out, what you would widely get out of this. You answered truthfully. Now and she gestures to the three of you. It's your turn to ask me a question, and I will answer truthfully. Honesty is the best policy in these type of diplomacies.
But board honey, you have no idea.
So Lauren's instinct is to basically turn Dalar's question back around and basically ask, what does she want out of this? What are her long-term plans and goals?
Okay.
She's trying to niggle at the unknown.
Okay.
Could
like the very unknown aspect of about Dalar that we would love to have that blank filled in.
Yeah. I would definitely like to assist with that if any of my focuses can help.
Jaloran wouldn't say anything out loud. She would mentally pass it back to Kavai.
Gotcha.
Since Kavai's got the diplomacy focus there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. This would be an insight. No, this is actually a reason. And no, this is insight and security for sure. I had to think about it.
Okay. Could I actually use a value?
Yes, you can.
We are all Stardust.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Jaloran is basically giving Kavai the template of like let's get at the unknown aspect of the question that we want answered.
That gets me an extra die, right? What one do I want?
You said the value?
Technically.
Yes.
It's an extra die, but you don't roll it. It just is automatically considered to be a crit.
Oh, dope. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so I choose the green ones.
Perfect. The difficulty here is going to be 4.
Oh,
And I am spending 4 threat.
okay. Oh, this is scary. Please roll good. 2 successes from the dice that I rolled.
Okay.
And then
And
so yep.
with the
auto
value,
crit.
Yep.
auto crits. That's 4.
Yep, you got it.
Meet it.
Okay.
I'm not sweating, you're sweating.
Alright, so, on the unknown and asking those questions, finally, she kind of acquiesces a little bit. She's not loosening her guard. Far from it. She's not dumb enough to do that. But she is at least willing to... She understands that this is a little bit of a give and take, so... You're wondering if I'm going to continue any type of typical syndicate activity, and... I will rest assured and put it at ease. Some of it, yes. Most of it, no. I find the concept of trafficking disgusting, distasteful, primitive, and far, far too old of a practice.
Trust me, you don't want to grow up in it. Very, very, like, poignant look.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
My interest lies, as my public resume may suggest, medicine, sociology, all of those things that make people interesting. If our conversations go well, I would like to just create a web of connections, resources, syndicate resources that, until, if I do not take over, will not be possible. But if I do, any of those resources through diplomatic means that I am able to acquisition could be outsourced to secondary and third parties. The Federation, of course, would not be exempt from this rule, and given the recent conversations that we're having right now, I would assume this is something that you could find useful in the future. For a price, of
Another
course.
nod. Another nod from Jillard.
So, I suppose you want to know what the price is. And I know you, I assume you're... If you're a handler or a teacher or an agent, whatever you might be, I assume you're Starfleet, and therefore you can't be on the ground here, so... And doing something as risky and as blatantly bold as this, I imagine you're anywhere between the rank of a lieutenant commander and a captain.
Just a very calm smile. It's like she's not gonna give anything away.
That's fine, because you not giving anything away, just a smile, she kind of relaxes, as if your smile gave something away for her. Well, then I have a sufficient trade. Your team. Very specifically your team and the individuals present and those directly connected to you. And believe me, I will find out who is directly connected to you. I know Kavai, and therefore I can use my own resources to figure out who else is directly connected to you. So the trade is simple. Who sanctioned this mission?
I mean, it's not lying if we say that we're not sanctioned to be doing this.
That's technically true.
Could I telepathically say, can I blurt that out to Jaloran? And make it look like it's an accident and that she's gaining something?
Yes, I'm not gonna make you make a roll for that. I am gonna roll for her.
Well, I'm asking for permission from Jaloran.
Ah, I see.
Lauren thinks that's brilliant.
Okay. Well, I mean, technically, we're not supposed to be doing hands over mouth.
And, like, immediate response, pure acting skill. Like, alarm just crosses Lauren's face and just this slight glare at Kavai.
I just, like, sort of sink real low in my chair and for all the world project every bit of, oh, I fucked up.
And then Lauren just makes it clear that, like, there's this restrained huff. She is, by all appearances, disappointed.
Mira turns around, covering her mouth with her hand. She's hiding a smile, actually. So
But it could be anything
yeah,
else.
she's not. Yeah.
This is fun.
Well, not sanctioned. Well, that's certainly something. That makes me wonder who was bold enough to sign off on something that is breaks several diplomatic treaties, Federation, and intergalactic law. Certainly you don't want someone like that running amok within your organization.
Lauren huffs a sigh. Certainly not. There will likely be an intense inquiry.
Well. If I sign off on such a deal, I would like our terms and conditions to be laid out through what we consider a grey document, one that doesn't technically exist. But
Until it goes through the proper channels?
It doesn't have to. It could be between the two of us. A power hold that each of us has over each other. You know that you're not supposed to be here by intergalactic technicalities. And that could end your careers, I'm sure.
Kawhi, like, sort of muttering behind their hand. And hey, you know, if you needed to lure out my parents, I'm still technically kidnapped.
No, I've already set that in motion.
Oh. That gets like a very, very Vulcan looking eyebrow raise.
But shall we sign off on these documents then?
After a very thorough read-through, yes.
Of course,
don't see why
suppose
not.
you don't want to be distracted. And she'll snap her fingers up above, and it is a loud snap. It is almost deafening how proficient she is with it. And the entire, like, cafe gets up and just leaves the space.
I feel like, because this is a thought that I had before, but I want it known that, like, while, like, before the negotiation, like, as they were sitting down, Alec would have turned to Dr. Atherton and just been like, and to Mariel, who I assume is here too, and just be like, all right, I want eyes on everyone we can, because if it were me, I would fill this whole place with my people.
Yeah.
Hey, I can take them all on.
You're not there.
But the but yeah, that is one of those things where kind of positioning and Muriel is lets out this kind of huffed exhale that you, Dr. Atherton, know as slight annoyance, and just looking from positioning. It's not that her positioning is bad, far from it, actually. But the way that Delara has positioned herself within this, like, cafe area can only be from, like, one angle that is advantageous to you.
Yeah. So Dr. Atherton just has so many bitter curses on her tongue for the entirety of this
And
situation.
like
Nothing
watching
about it
into
is
like watching like the whole, bringing these pads and stuff, and you can see Delora like with kind of like a mug or something, just through like the scopes and the spotter scopes that you can see, just raise it up in the air, kind of your direction.
Yeah. I feel like as the moment like she snaps and everybody stands up, I feel like I look at exchange like a knowing look with Dr. Atherton, like, see, what did I say?
Yep. I'm getting all their social security numbers.
Hilarious.
Uh,
Kavai, for their part, not even phased.
Just fucking writing them down.
I think
Yeah, Jaloran would be same with Kavai, not even phased.
mm-hmm.
And I think as
Mira
Jaloran's
is like,
going over paperwork, like, oh, go ahead.
well, I'm sorry, I was just quickly. Mira's like, I still could have taken them all.
Jaloran just leans
Damn
over and
straight.
pats Mira's shoulder and nods. Like, I'm sure.
she gives her a thumbs up, like, yeah, you know it.
And I think as Jaloran's going over paperwork, I kind of lean over to Delar and I'm just like, oh, by the way, you're not getting your friends back.
I have no need of them at this point.
Oh, fantastic.
I don't really
I'm not
tolerate
going to...
any type of failure, so you may do with them what you will.
Oh, fantastic. The dumb talkative one is so cute. Like I said, very good taste.
Yeah, well, there's a reason that one was expendable.
Kavai is very privately like, I will protect him forever.
But the, looking over all of this, notably, the stuff that you hand over and the stuff that she hands over, her conditions are pretty open for the most part. She doesn't seem to have a high amount of demands for things other than like kind of just stay out of the way. Only like understandably only intrude if the noise becomes too much. There's also the agreement with the syndicate, like to Federation sanctioned like colonies and stuff like that. The medical supplies will still be delivered in timely fashion. She will take that over with much more haste than previously, given her medical profession. That seems to be... She is certainly a dangerous individual, but it seems like whatever the equivalent of the Orion, like, Hippocratic Oath is, seems to be... This applies here as well.
Given Orion habits of doublespeak, with my linguistic and or detective and or any other focuses, could I just sort of take a little peek over to make sure we're not missing anything?
Yes. On paper, quote unquote paper, you're not really missing anything at all. The one thing that you are seeing here that could become a problem is these colonies that kind of have already distanced themselves from the Federation or are trying to make it on their own will be depending on an Orion medical, like, syndicate transport for medical supplies. And because it's happening faster, there is a chance that these colonies will be alienated further from the Federation. And there is also the chance that they will be more receptive and allow information to flow back and forth between Orion and these colonies versus these colonies and Starfleet and or the Federation that are trying to keep track of them.
Given how I was raised and how I had to underhandedly obtain Federation information to even learn about them initially, would it be unreasonable to say I could cede that same back channel to them just in case?
Yes, it is entirely likely that this would happen. These colonists don't have like the greatest inner workings of the Federation, but they have the immediate they'll have the immediate grasp of Federation and Starfleet like media broadcasts, and honestly, in this day and age, that information is invaluable. So
Okay.
because that essentially like saying like, hey, the Federation is suffering, this type of problem, that gives, her potentially an opening to kind of sweep into the rescue. Like, I hear you have this problem. I can fix this, but let's work out a deal first.
Okay, so we could definitely make it mutually beneficial.
Yes, it could be mutually beneficial, but there is the potential. It's a low potential at this stage, but there is the potential that this could have catastrophic backfiring potential.
Okay.
So, like,
I would
it's not a
pass
high
that
percentage, but
information-
it's not 0%.
I'd pass that information off for sure, because that's above Kavai's pay grade, but they note that for sure.
Sorry. Would it be possible to introduce as part of this, because like I know she's like one of her stipulations was the Federation staying completely out of her way, but like since these colonies are technically not part of her like syndicate operations, would it be possible to like include a stipulation within this for like having some kind of like, I don't know, instituting some sort of like position within those colonies to as not like necessarily not like as a liaison especially, but as somebody whose job basically is like an ambassador, basically as somebody whose job is essentially to like make sure that at the very least communication still stays fluid between the Federation and the colonies to try to mitigate that risk.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. Yeah, you can include that. She seems, just kind of working stuff in that, and at the end of it, it all seems perfectly amiable for the most part. But she is kind of still looking you up and down, Commander, before looking over to Lieutenant Loris and gauging an assessment. She's already pretty much memorized Kavai's whole everything of being, so there's no reason for her
It's
to
not
try
really.
and
It's an open secret.
Then there's the she's more cautious. She's kind of assessing threats. Basically, is Kavai is certainly a threat to be acknowledged, just because she knows how to work around within this game a little bit. Maybe not as proficiently, but is aware of it, for sure. She can identify Jalorn as someone who definitely knows this game in and out, and therefore she is a high threat that she has to be very cautious of. Notably, she looks over Lieutenant Loris for about 4 seconds and moves on.
She meets her look like in a very, very confident way, like, what? You wanna say something? Say it in my face. Come on. Do it.
I would, but I don't want a barbaric response. So, I believe this is...
She kinda makes it sound. Also, actually, her eyes are actually like pretty. I would like to remind you that her eyes are actually pretty scary looking, because one of them is like
Yep.
completely like black.
This woman does
not completely black,
flinch.
but like
She is not scared of you in the least.
damn,
Kind of looks...
what a bitch. Respectfully.
I could offer something if you were willing to at least hand off the name in terms of research purposes and nothing further.
Hand off a name. Which name is she fishing for?
Whoever
The Admiral?
Yeah.
Tate is on the ship listening to this like just very stoically, like trusting the crew.
Mm-hmm.
This is why Tate didn't want to be down there, just in case that something like this happened.
Oh, she would have baited the shit out of you.
Oh yeah, and it would have worked. That's why Tate stayed.
So Lauren's gonna open a connection to Tate and get their feeling on that question.
Tate doesn't like it, but you know Tate well enough to know the feeling you get is the people must be protected at all costs. That's the value that Tate's mother put into them.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, get something good out of it if you can get it. If not, if get something good out of it if you're gonna do it. Because Tate knows that the admiral leads to them, and so they know they're putting themselves at risk, possibly from this. So, if you can get something good out of it, get her to tell you what she wants to give you in exchange for it. Don't just give it to her blindly.
She's just going to give Delara a pretty steely gaze. She's not gonna drop a name per se, but she wants to make it clear that there's hefty consequences, and it would need to be in return if she's gonna give out that name at all. She's gonna need something really good in return.
That's understandable.
Otherwise, the best she can do is drop a hint.
You're aware of the situation with the binary star system of Romulus and Remus, I'm sure.
She nods.
And you're aware the Federation abandoned evacuation efforts.
She scowls.
Did you know Starfleet took volunteers during that time? For the evacuation effort. Civilians. Decommissioned officers. Cadets.
She does nod.
Then are you aware that 189 of them, upon the immediate cease of the evacuation effort, are currently on Romulus?
Would she have known that?
Yes, but that's also one of those things where it's kind of like the Federation has been like, yeah, we're working on getting them back, but it's one of those weird situations, especially with the whole synth attack. The bureaucracy of it has been making this 150 times more difficult than it needs to be. Because it's the whole concept of the Federation going like, we should go get our people, but Romulus also in that weird bureaucratic state of going like, well, you kind of said, fuck you guys, so we're not gonna allow you to come back. We'll figure it out on our own.
That just gets a grudging nod from Jalora, and it's like something else that she's not entirely happy about.
Obviously, you can't go get them.
Obviously not.
I could. I'm not beholden to your Federation rules, because Orion isn't a Federation world. Not yet, of course.
That definitely gets an eyebrow quirk. Similar to Gavai's Vulcan. She's intrigued. How exactly would you pull that off?
Well, we have a few... My father has a few Orion corvettes that are not being used. He has a prototype warp engine that could get there in under a week. It would be a tight fit for most of your evacuees and volunteers. But I could get them back into Federation space in 46 days. Safe and unharmed. And all it would cost you is a name.
She prods Tate again.
You just get stoicism from it, and then close eyes, then a nod.
A vice admiral.
Couldn't make it easy, could you?
Well, that and player cannot pronounce name for anything.
Mhm. How's this sound? You and I keep communications up. Discreetly, through encrypted channels. I will send my corvette there, as best you can assess and know. Once it's in the orbit of Romulus, I extract your left-behind Federation members. Upon such time, and you have personal verification, you give me the name if I haven't sussed it out by that point. I don't expect myself to get the full name, and then you expect me to just operate on good faith.
Jalora nods in agreement at that point.
Well then, I believe our conversation is over. And I imagine Kavai has thoroughly enjoyed this.
It's probably the one thing I've missed most about being home.
Well, grab whatever food you want on your way out, as they will, they won't say no to something I've helped them build up.
Beautiful work.
Well then. Your correctly positioned security and insurance policy to the northwest, I'm sure, is going to enjoy the potential concept of deciding whether or not to shoot me in the back as I walk out of here. And she will get up and turn to leave. And at this point, all things are considered, you've concluded all your businesses. You can, in fact, just head back to the Sol system if you want. You might face some backlash, but for all intents and purposes, you have completed your mission. It seems the efforts to get rid of the 3 board pieces that are already in motion, and apparently have been for some time.
I mean, we got them what they wanted. Maybe not in the way they wanted it, but we got it to them.
Oh, the man must be so angry when we give the name. When we give
I
her
mean, shouldn't we at least stick around until the people that we were sent to put out of commission are actually out of commission?
yeah.
That means you will stay for an
I
extra
mean,
week.
yeah, that sounds like an idea to control.
Yep, you will stay for an extra week to verify it. Yuri, the Orion government isn't exactly like, you know, a beacon of morality, but there are certain, like, there are certain things that they just, by nature, have to not ignore, otherwise that facade kind of just destroys itself. So for Yuri, there's a lot of, political in-house dealings that is just not okay, that get some, well, you're not really sure where he goes. But he definitely gets taken off the board. Between Kavai's parents, interestingly enough,
Do I hear anything directly from them?
from your parents?
Hmm.
You get a file, from your Vulcan half, from the ship, that's kind of sent to your, like, personal stuff. It is deeply encrypted. It is something that you have never seen before in your life. Like, it is ridiculous. Even if you were to bring this to Jalorn will look at this and go like, this is gonna take months to figure out. That's about all you get, but interestingly enough, you don't get that good feeling of like, yeah, I've won up to you. I've finally am free of you. You don't get that personal, like, gratification. They kind of just pass. Like, one of them for sure shows up that
think-
is like,
I think that's what fucking hurts the most.
like, for
Is that I'm not even on their radar, really.
it's not necessarily that. It's more of like, you get verification that your Ryan Syndicate dad does in fact, like, catch a disruptor, basically. Your Vulcan half, no clue what happened. It's almost like given off, it looks like, even just looking through it, looks like Vulcan government might have participated in this too. It's like he didn't exist ever.
You said Vulcan half twice.
Oh, I am so sorry. Yeah, no, Orion, and then yeah, okay. So, but either way,
Orion caught a disruptor blast. Yep. Vulcan went poof.
Yep, pretty much, as if he just didn't exist ever.
Ugh, that's so insulting. Kavai is not happy about this.
What? We will...
Do you want... do you want people... Like, would you be open to people keeping an eye out for him? Or is that something you want to handle on your own?
This is not something she would openly bring up to anyone. Okay. She only barely acknowledged it with you. And that was like, you got the impression that was like an accident and that her stress was just getting to her.
Okay.
But what about the therapy? You said it works.
There's a lot of backsliding.
It doesn't work that fast.
No, not at all.
Alright, then we were going to fast forward.
It's always worse when it's your parents.
A couple weeks later, back on Earth, Madrid, Spain, the safe house. You have not seen this building, nor have you been within your own apartments or rooms for not counting the mission time, you haven't been here for about 90 days.
Oh, I need to go water my plants.
If there's nothing else, Tate would like to talk to Kubai.
Oh, yeah, you would catch her probably on the holodeck, catching up on, like, definitely has, like, multiple screens going, sensory overload, catching up on all of her shows.
Mira slept for like 3 days straight. Then she woke up and went to the beach.
Notably, when Tate walks in, they're not wearing their Starfleet uniform at the time.
Oh, hey! She'll lift up goggles and fix her glasses back down. What's up?
How are you doing after everything? Just wanted to check on that.
Oh, well, you know, about as well as could be. I'm kind of surprised they didn't even have the decency to be mad at me. Whatever. It's fine. I'll figure it out.
I'm a little upset at you for constantly trying to lose me during that mission.
Oh.
Because you put yourself at too much risk. When we're on a mission like that, we have to trust each other. If you don't trust me, then tell me.
I'm sorry. You definitely have, like, caught her completely off guard.
That was the point.
Yeah, for sure.
It's almost like Tate knows how to do this.
You don't get time to craft a response.
Yeah. Okay, above board, she's definitely thinking, well, fuck, I wasn't even thinking about you, and then thinks better about saying that out loud.
Oh, say it out loud, see what happens, because I don't know what would happen.
I'm sorry, There's just something about being in proximity to home that brings out all of my selfish tendencies. My parents...
I noticed.
Shakes her head.
I just wanted to clear the air between us. Well, at least on my side. I don't know if you have any air to clear with me. I don't want to be angry at you if we're going to keep doing missions together. That's not helpful.
No, I'm sorry. I wasn't...
Next time, let me have your back.
For the record, I don't doubt your skills, and I do trust you. I just thought it would have been better to not involve.
My job was to have your back.
And you did.
Don't go off on your own like that. You scared me. People care about you, Kavai. Don't do stupid things like that.
Really doesn't look like sure how to take that. Thank you, I think.
I'm sorry, I'm making you uncomfortable. I don't mean to do that. I just want to make sure you don't do that again, because you're very lucky that you didn't die. I mean, you could have easily, if we had actually lost you during that attack on your apartment, You'd be dead.
You can tell she's biting back a lot.
If you have something to say to me, say goodbye. Say it. I'm not gonna take it personally.
Well, I mean, I just don't. I find that incredibly hard to believe.
Find what incredibly hard to believe.
I'm not. I appreciate that you see value in me. I don't. I'm trying to. I really, really am.
Do you see value in not giving me another heart attack?
The last thing I want to do is hurt any of you.
I lied to my mother to keep you safe, to keep you protected from that.
Yeah,
And she probably
I'm sorry.
and
that
she
was-
probably found out I'm gonna have to deal with that later. But that's fine. I'm not trying to guilt trip you on that. I'm just letting you know.
I know. It was a really unfair position to be put in. I shouldn't be throwing my issues or projecting my issues onto you. I'm sure your mom's great.
She's not.
She sort of like gestures out with her hands like, what do you want from me? Help!
Okay.
I think sort of like as the conversation goes on, Tate will move it back to like Kavai's shows and what she's watching and stuff.
Okay.
That's an easy in. For sure. She'll info dump.
Okay.
Like the moment you bring up special interest, she's just gone.
Alright. As all of that is concluding, I am curious, because this is a mission that definitely will shape one individual's perception, or probably a couple individuals' perception. I am curious to know what Alec and Jaloran are up to in these final moments here, because
It's funny you ask, because I think Alec is going to seek out Jaloran. And I'll just sort of would you be in your office?
In a rare departure, you would actually find her at home.
So I think in that case, you'd hear the door chime, and yeah, when the door opens, Alec is standing there, looking at you, and just going, this is literally the last place I looked for you. I went all over the office looking for you before I even thought to come here.
She chuckles and nods. Yeah. There are times where it seems like I live over there.
I tried that. I seem to recall being told that was unacceptable.
Yeah.
Do you have a minute?
I do. And she gestures him to come in and heads towards the living area. At which point he's greeted by an adorably cute, larger than a Maine Coon, purple all over, a rising caracal.
I think Alec genuinely has no idea. Is this the kind of cat that would hop into a lap? Because
they're not
Yes.
supposed to, but they can,
Yeah.
and this one does.
Alex is this is 100%. He doesn't know what to do with it. He's just hi. Okay. Oh, you're laying
It
down.
just
Okay. All right.
she just
You can never move
chirrups
again.
and whistles and is like making it very clear that she's very pleased to see you and would happily like to have your hands on.
I'll just sort of like awkwardly like, okay. Oh, you're sitting down. Oh, all right. And I just sort of like start awkwardly petting the cat. Just okay.
Somewhere out there, Mira feels very jealous and she doesn't know why.
um
An incredible, overwhelming jealousy. I'm sorry.
Alec will just sort of pet the cat absent-mindedly for a bit and then look up and say, hell of a mission.
Certainly was. Thank you for providing that alternate perspective.
Yeah. I surprised myself a little bit with that one.
You did have a good point.
What was that?
We needed to be Starfleet.
Alec will just sort of nod and say, actually, is what I came here to say. I was thinking about that, and I was thinking I came here to say thank you. Not for being open to that. For seeing things a different way. There were a couple of times during that mission where I was worried I was going to have to... I think Alec doesn't finish that sentence. He just shakes his head and says, I appreciate you being open to seeing things a different way. And also thank you for doing the same thing with me. When I first came here, I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what I was doing. I don't know what you saw, but it was more than what I did.
I'm really glad you stuck around with us.
You know, I am too, Commander.
Is this also goodbye?
I'm not sure yet. But I think nothing's final yet. But I think my whole life I've been following a plan that I'm not even sure I knew what that plan was. It definitely wasn't my plan. I never felt like I had an idea of what that plan was. I was just putting one foot in front of the other, but not towards anything. And I think these last few months I've started to really think about, for once, I've finally started to think about what my plan is for me. And I don't think I have an answer for that yet. But I think I'm finally ready to start looking.
If you need my help, I'm here.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And like I said, nothing's final. You still got me for a little while, at least, and I'm happy to... As far as I'm concerned, Nothing's different. Not yet. But there might come a time when I need to take some time and just figure out what it is that I need.
Of course.
I'll just sort of keep petting the cat. Mostly because I think at this point, Alec has said what he came to say and doesn't really know what else to do.
The door chime to your house actually rings, Commander. Again, it's pretty late at night, which is strange.
That's 2 visitors within the space of an hour. Odd. One I was expecting. She's like kind of muttering this out loud, just loud enough. Aurelia is just snuggling into Alex's lap. Nope, you're not getting up. While Jalorian gets up to go answer the door again.
Okay. Before you stands a kind of nervous looking ensign. He's kind of probably just newly minted and given the commission of ensign, and just he looks incredibly nervous, and is constantly like kind of checking his surroundings.
I promise nothing is going to jump out of the darkness and bite you, Ensign. You might get cuddled, but not bitten.
Okay. We're gonna shift frame here. Because, Alec, you were trapped by this large creature. And this creature's hairs begin to stand on end and begin to tense up and just kind of, there's a low, like, kind of chirping growl that comes from it.
I think I key into that and I stand immediately. Like, I recognize I am dumping this creature onto the floor, but I think I immediately stand.
The sound you hear next is distinct. It's not disruptive fire, but it is a pull-on pistol. 2 distinct ones. And the sound of it, you can definitely tell that just through this action, the commander has been hit.
Yeah. I run for the door.
She is unconscious as of this moment. The injuries are... they're not fatal, but they are incredibly life-threatening in this situation.
Just her, there's nobody else around.
There is nobody else around. There's no one at the door either.
I like run and like immediately kneel down next to her and Commander, I like tap my comm badge, which I'm wearing on the outside of like I'm wearing civvies too. I'm like just wearing a jacket.
Yep.
But I have my comm badge on the outside of it, and I tap it. Say, Lieutenant Loris, Mira, get to Jaloran's house right now. The commander's been hit.
The sounds that you can hear, the kind of housey sounds, these sounds of like clocks and all of those sounds just begin to deafen as everything comes into focus here. As we will cut to black here and end our season.
No, what?
I knew you're gonna pull something like this, Joe. You
How
magnificent
I knew it
fucking
too.
dare you?
You can't have a
Yeah, I
season
knew
finale
you would
without.
pull horseshit like that. No.
So this
Joe,
is what
you
it feels like.
magnificent bastard.
Okay, so
Literally torture. Literally illegal.
yep. So we will not be having any more Star Trek Intelligence this year. We will have a Q&A next week for all of you that wish to join us for that, and ask questions in real time, and also for us to ask questions to each other. Additionally to that, projected, as long as nothing goes horrifically wrong, ideally we will start up
Wishful
season 2 either the 6th of January or the 13th of January. And I'll pin it for the players here in our Discord chat. But that is our projected stuff. Obviously, we'll all be doing things in the interim.
Actually, Joe, I do have a question for you.
Yes.
Real quick. How dare you? Anyway.
I think we're all asking that one.
Listen, I don't get to be on this side of this
Like the
situation very often.
stone-faced answer.
But anyways, I'm sure there's a lot to go here, but for now, and as we've said every single time, for a little bit of time throughout the night, throughout the weeks, and throughout this season, we hope we have been a brief bit of R&R, but we will see you with Star Trek Intelligence next year.